Hi, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our YouTube live session on CP's Digital Pathshala, which is going to be tip for tips and tricks for reading comprehension. So, all the CLAT 2026 aspirants, you have done a lot of reading comprehension. You are now in a stage where you just need a little push to start getting correct marks. And you are in a gray area where you think you are reading something, you are on top of your game, but some questions are not making sense. So, where are these gray areas that you can cover? So, this 15-minute session today, which you should put in a loop and replay, and which you should remember while doing reading comprehension to extract yourself out of this gray area and to jump into the area where you know, yes, this was the mistake I was making, and now I'm going to get the marks. So let's look at the first one. What's in a passage? So have you ever asked yourself that any passage that you are reading, what is contained in that passage? मैं क्या पढ़ रही हूँ? What am I reading? If you are in control of the situation, if you want to be in control of the situation, then you should at all times know that whatever you are reading in front of you has some of these essential features. Every passage, if it is in the form of an opinion or argument, will have a point. So constantly you should ask yourself, what is the point of the author? Exactly what the author is trying to tell you. That point is supported with evidence, with data, with examples. So you should always wonder, okay, this example or this piece of data or this piece of news, it has to support some point. So if you are reading data, if you are reading an example, you have to constantly ask yourself, what is this going to support? Exactly what is the author trying to tell me by citing this example? In fact, this is a question, a regular question in your papers. Why has the author mentioned this example? So the author mentions any example, any data, anything. It's not random. It is always to support some point. That point can also be supported by the third entrant, which is others' points of views. So at all points in the passage, you should know, is this the author's view or is it someone else's view? Never get confused, because one of the options to the question, what would the author agree with, will have author view and maybe a general view or other person's view. And you tell yourself, everything is written in the passage. So why is option B wrong? It is wrong because it may be in the passage as a general view or as what others think, but not what the author is trying to say. So always distinguish between that. And any of those comments or support which are under the domain of others' views should be handled accordingly. So that is for opinion. You are not at all times reading an opinion. Sometimes you are just reading a report, sometimes you are just reading a description. Those are easier to handle because there is no point of view to chase. And sometimes you are only reading a story. So read a story as a story. There is no argument there. There is no point there. It is a story. It is describing something and it is giving you some action in motion. So read it like a story, take it in like a story, and you are going to do much better with your passage. What should I focus on? As I said, always focus on separating the author's view from other speaker views. Maybe the other speaker views are supporting the author's point of view, but they do not qualify as the author's view. So author's view should be in a separate domain as other speaker views. And focus on these very unseeming words, these very, very, commonplace words that you just ignore in the passage. Words like fortunately, luckily, unfortunately, surprisingly, greatly, firstly. Usually, or adjectives like good, bad, pathetic, tragic, they convey to you the author's tone. This is a very important moment in the passage because it tells you the turn of events and the author's emotion at that point. If the author is saying fortunately, maybe it's a happy news. If the author is saying unfortunately, maybe it's not so happy news. So they shift the mood and tone. And this catch is the catch when we are trying to find out tones. Tones like cautious, concerned, happy, elated, criticizing, critical. So you will be surprised, these words play a role. And when you combine these words or tone to the content of the passage, so the tone, the author is elated, or the author is surprised, or the author is feeling very happy or pleasant about something. And what is that something? That something is the premise. That something is the discussion, topic of discussion, which you can read from the content. Combine the content and what you gauge from here, and you will get a central theme. Remember, the central theme is not just the content. You have to use a word that describes the exact emotion of the author. Well, no tips or tricks can work without do nots. Do not attempt to read faster than you understand. Do not even try to challenge yourself now to read faster. Reading speed does not develop overnight. Your reading speed is years of your reading. You can't fit in years in a month. So just read at your pace. Try to maximize the score with your reading pace. Do not skip parts, thinking, okay, let's skip this, I will work faster. Well, if you have skipped the passage, then you cannot attempt central theme or tone questions because the part that you have skipped may contain those emotion words. So how will you be able to touch the right chord? Do not try to rush with answers. Do not try to attempt any theme questions if you are not sure or if you have not read the whole passage. Don't attract negative marks by just rushing. Take it easy, work at your pace, focus on the positive marks you can extract. Because if you are rushing in a passage, you may get 4 answers wrong. And that is a heavy price to pay, my dear friends, which is 5 marks in your overall score. So do not do these things. Nothing will be achieved when you are skipping parts or rushing while you are reading. You will only end up making errors. While I do not like to end with do nots, so I'm going to end with do's. Do check the passage when confused between two options. By rereading the two options, you're just wasting time. If you are confused, don't reread the two options, just check the options in the passage. When you have these two options, check which option fits better. There is something that you are skipping in the option. Once you reread that area in the passage, that area where the options are given, you will get the right answer. So that is quick working rather than just rereading the option and not rereading the passage because you will waste time. You're not wasting time. You are investing time to get a mark. To try to, sorry, do attempt vocabulary by replacing the words with sentences in it. A very good method, if you're confused between two words, take the two words, go to that line, see which word is fitting in with the whole scheme of the passage, and then choose the right word. Follow section time. If the passages are long and your section time is exceeding, it is better to stop the section, move into the next section and come back. Don't exceed your section time, which should be 20 to 25 minutes for RCs. So these 20 to 25 minutes, if you are not able to complete, it's better to stop, do something else, move to the next section so that your overall strategy is not disturbed. Usually, if you have one tough section, there is some section easy. So you can come back to the tough section. Check all the options well. Don't see a question, read the first option, get excited about it, and mark it. Do read all the options as matter of habit, not just in English in every section. Maybe you have missed something in the first option. And finally, don't mark the OMR after every question. Maybe you mark it after every passage once you are satisfied with the answers. Because sometimes the new answer makes you change an older answer. And that brings us to the master tip. I will not let you go without this master tip. Now, the master tip in passages is do not panic when you are confused. Leave that question if you are still confused between two options after rereading and everything. Solve ahead. Sometimes the next question makes you answer the previous question better. Because the passages have a lot of theme-based questions, 2 or 3 questions overlap. And a next question can make the theme option better and give you an idea to answer the previous one. It will happen all the time if you are focused. That is why focus on one general theme, and you will know that in a passage, 2 to 3 questions have the same answer, which is a good sign, which means you're on the right track. If the 2, 3 questions with similar options have different answers, you are on the wrong track. Maybe one of the answers is correct, rest of them are not. So that is why I asked you not to mark question by question, but finish the passage and then mark. And the better answer or the better tip is that sometimes if some part of the passage is confusing, don't worry, go to the questions. If there is a question on the confusing part, you will be surprised that the options will make that part easier for you to understand. Because remember, options are a simplified work of the passage or a simplified part of the passage. So when you read the option, it will click. Okay, this is what they were talking about. Because you will know. You will be able to eliminate the contradictory options and the off options. Even if you're confused between two, at least you will get a good understanding of what that portion was. So a passage is not complete until you have gone over the options. It is a whole sum total of events. So depend on the options to help you understand the part. Options are intermingling because they are based on the theme and overall theme. So one question can be answered better after attempting the next one. And if you feel that you have 2 separate answers for theme questions, time for you to rethink and change one of them. So take an RC in totality with the question and the options, and then make your decisions. I hope this very quick tip and tricks video for reading comprehension passages was helpful. Watch it again, note down the tips, and see them make a difference to your RC score. And please come back here for more tips and tricks on other sections like critical reasoning, legal reasoning, and all. That's it from my side. Have a great preparatory 1 month and a great attempt of the CLAT paper.